Colonial pipeline attack, tip of the infrastructure rise, risk iceberg. DHS cyber chief, Fox Business Story. After a hacking group forced Colonial Pipeline, the nation's largest system for refined oil products, to shut down suddenly, government officials are warning cyber attacks against U.S. businesses and infrastructure will become more frequent. Acting Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency Director Brandon Wells made that clear during Q&A while testifying before lawmakers on the Senate Homeland Security Committee. If there is ransomware focus on Colonial, there is likely to be ransomware focus on other critical infrastructure as well. Isn't that true? Asked Senator Rob Portman, Republican Ohio, the ranking member of the committee. And Wells responded, that is true. The attack on the Colonial Pipeline, said to be the work of Russian ransomware group Darkside, is straining supply and panicking drivers who have lined up at gas stations up and down the East Coast, with North Carolina and Virginia declaring a state of emergency. And then obviously this has caused the gas stations in Southeast to run out of gas as people panic buying fuel. Gas stations in southern eastern United States face significant outages. Wednesday, this makes it stretches into the 6th day. As of 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 24.8% of all gas stations in North Carolina, 15.4% of all gas stations in Georgia, 15% in Virginia are without gasoline. Let me say that one more time. A quarter of all gas stations in Carolina. That's the third largest economy in America. According to the city, it's a big number right there when you're looking at that. According to GasBuddy, as an app track fuel demand, the supply chain appears to be much worse in metropolitan cities. GasBuddy reported outages impacting 71% of stations in Metro Charlotte, nearly 60% in Atlanta, 72% in Raleigh, 73% in Pensacola. Anyways, I can give you a bunch of stats. What are your thoughts on what's going on with this?
Well, you want to start with this?
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, there's two different stories here. There's the actual cyber attack on Colonial Pipeline. I think it's important to point out that sort of a big Miami journalist type guy made a major announcement. He's like, people in South Florida, don't worry about this. We do not get our gas from Colonial Pipeline. We actually get shipments from the ports. So this is not affecting South Florida. So for local people, we're like, all right, cool. But there's, I guess, two stories going on here. Number one, the cyber warfare. I mean, and you could probably speak about warfare way better than I, but warfare is now turning cyber. And this is a major concern. I think it was Ted Koppel that I spoke with a few years ago at a big NALBA event, and it was kind of 2016 when Trump was talking about the wall and all that, and it was hoopla and hoopla. He goes, look, the biggest issue we should all be thinking about is cyber warfare, and obviously after COVID, whatever you would call pandemic warfare. Also the electrical grid. Like, imagine if they can take out the electrical grid, that'd be absurd. So, but the good news is this has been rectified. Everything is kind of getting back to normal. And then back to, that's sort of a macro level. Then from a micro perspective, Kai, if you want to pull up the picture that I just sent you, this reminds me, it's to use the metaphor from COVID, people freaking out buying toilet paper. I got to get toilet paper. I'm hoarding toilet paper. It's ridiculous. I need the toilet paper. And it's like, why did we all need all that toilet paper during COVID? I had COVID. Wasn't going to the bathroom more than usual. So here's an example that I saw online. This couple is filling up a SUV full of gas. This is classic.
With the kids probably sitting in the back right there, smelling all of that.
The guy's 300 pounds. You should probably just take a walk for a second. But rather than driving the SUV, that's just me. I got personal. I'm sorry, buddy. I take that back. The wives' calves look like Bo Jackson's. That's just me again.
Legit.
But this is what's going on. This is, people overreact. They rush to judgment.
Listen, all night last night, if you ride up and down the highway, you'll see lines. You would have seen lines all night last night. They don't really have a problem here, but people panic, just like the toilet paper. And I really never figured out what the toilet paper had to do with the COVID stuff. Like, toilet paper? I don't know. Nobody got diarrhea from COVID.
Nah, that was not a symptom.
No.
It was not a symptom.
I still can't smell 6 months later, but I've been able to, bathrooms is pretty normal.
Not a bad problem.
Yeah. So, the toilet paper was an issue, just like the gas. People panic. They panic, and it's usually out of ignorance. The problem we have, out of all the things that you mentioned, the grid issues, the electrical grid, the water basins, are they problematic? Could they be? Yeah, they could be. But the bottom line is cyber is probably one of the deadliest threats we face today as a national security risk, because you have Russia, you have China, you have El Salvador, Iran, North Korea. These are all, they all have their elements out there that are trying to attack the U.S. without doing it publicly. And how do you do that? You get into the banking systems. You get into systems like this. They could do a lot of damage, and that's what we have to worry about.
And here's what's interesting. Kai, can you pull up that tweet that I sent you? This is pretty insane to be thinking about how ridiculous this is getting. Here's U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. Do not fill plastic bags with gasoline.
Yeah.
Plastic bags.
Plastic bags with gasoline. What do you mean? Do you even have to tweet about the fact that the only reason they're tweeting that is why? Because someone's
Dude, maybe they think it's a water balloon or something.
Hey, let me go fill up plastic. How do you even fill up plastic bags?
This is what irrational actors are thinking about when they hear that there's a gas shortage and they don't own one of the big red buckets because homeboy over there just bought 10,000 of them and put them in his truck, and now your only option is I gotta go fill up a garbage bag versus gasoline, and you're freaking out. Like you said, they're uninformed and they're just acting.
So here's what we have to realize. This is the largest U.S. pipeline. Number one, largest U.S. fuel pipeline. Okay, Darkside hackers took 100 gigabyte of data they stole. Okay, they have a double extortion scheme. There's a ransom they want here in return. If you go look up who Darkside hackers are, they operate on the dark web. It's not political. They flat out tell you, we are not political. We don't lean on the left or the right or anywhere. We simply just want money. On their website, they tell you which companies they've attacked, which companies they've hacked, what they've gotten on their website, clearly. And they say they have a very value-based principle. They don't go after funeral homes. They don't go after insurance company. They don't go after companies that take care of elderly. They're such...
Oh, what nice
people.
The
principal.
What nice
They're principal thieves.
Principal thieves.
Yeah.
Principle-based hackers. And Biden came out and said, look, this has nothing to do with Russia, meaning the government. It has something to do with the people that are hacking are from Russia, but we don't know if they're linked to Russia or not. Obviously, gas prices went up the highest in 7 years. But if you really think about it, here's what you got to be thinking about. So go and think about what COVID did to us for 12 months. How much did COVID cost us? I was talking to Noam Chomsky, and he said such an interesting thing. He said, look what Osama bin Laden did to U.S. He said, Osama bin Laden, during Bush and Obama, he got the U.S. government, his goal was to make U.S. government go bankrupt chasing this guy. U.S. spent $3.6 trillion just to catch this guy. He says, what human being in the world has ever been worth $3.6 trillion? The most expensive human being ever in the world was Osama bin Laden. Think about that. The most expensive human being in the world was Osama bin Laden. That's how much U.S. spent to go capture this guy, right? $3.6 trillion. So now, you come back and you look at something like this. How much did COVID cost U.S.? How much did COVID cost?
$5 trillion plus.
So far, in excess of 5.
In excess of $5 trillion.
To 6.
Okay, $5 to $6 trillion. Forget about the printing money, all this stuff. $5 to $6 trillion, right? And now things are coming back that, Fauci was part of a funded project. I don't know if you saw that or not, that they helped out with China years ago, and now they're kind of wanting to remove their names. But on the bottom of it, this lady who did this report, on the bottom, she says that this research was funded by, I think it's NIH, which Fauci's name is on that. Now Fauci's coming back and saying we had nothing to do with this, and they're saying how reckless this could have been because the virus could have come out, et cetera, et cetera. What does this have to do with COVID and Fauci? Here's what it has to do with it. The threats, you know how they say, what is that one line? If wars were fought in, the next World War III will be fought with what? Sticks and bones, sticks and...
with words?
No.
Sticks and stones?
Sticks and stones, meaning it's going to be the end of the world. They're going to fight. I don't think that's going to be the case. if you actually think about what the next wars are going to be, the toughest things about the next war is you don't know who's doing it. There is no fingerprints today. It's tough to find the fingerprints today. How do you go back and see who's behind this thing here? How do you not know these were people who are working on the inside with the Russian government that are doing this? How do you not know that this is funded? You don't know that stuff. The paper trail to find a lot of stuff is tough today. You don't know. But
why? Because it's done online?
The hackers, they can find ways to eliminate their IP so you don't know where it's coming from. And these guys are becoming so good at what they're doing today. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.